What's up, everybody? It's June 7th. I think that's today. Yeah, June 7th. This is day 3 of 37 Conversations. Today, we're going to talk about the movie Get Out. Before I do that, though, I'll be remiss if I don't give a shout out to Just Like That Custom Designs for providing me with the face mask, coronavirus mask, with the I can't breathe text on it. So definitely give them a shout out. Just Like That Custom Designs on Facebook. I'm seeing people are joining now, so I'll actually show you all the masks again a little bit later. But Just Like That Custom Designs on Facebook, go check them out. Black-owned business, woman-owned business, actually based in California. I like to support local business as much as possible. I live in Tampa, but I haven't seen these masks out here, so I got them from them. Shout out to her nephew, Urban Smiley. Thank you for the connect. Appreciate you, bro. So shout out to Smiley. So tonight I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about the movie Get Out. It was a very, very deep movie for me, right? And I'm curious as to if other people had the same perspectives and the same experience watching that movie and digesting that movie as I did. As I was watching that film, it really was hitting me, the themes. And if you haven't seen Get Out, if you haven't seen it, there's gonna be a lot of spoilers and stuff in this. So I wouldn't probably proceed with the live feed if you haven't seen it yet or even watch this particular conversation. But at any rate, I was late to watching Get Out. I hadn't seen it. I think it was on TV or HBO or something like that by the time I saw it, and I'm so glad that no one had ruined it for me, because a lot of people were talking about it. It was all over the place on social media, but I'm so glad that no one ruined it for me. So let's just get into it. So if you've seen Get Out, you already know what the themes are in it. You already know what the context of the film is, and I want to talk about that barbecue scene for a little bit. So you remember, coincidentally, the main character in the film, his name is Chris, just like me. But you remember when he essentially went to the barbecue and was, for lack of a better word, being, essentially paraded around, auctioned off to all the attendees of the barbecue and such. And he didn't know it, of course, at that point in the film. But, there were some very key aspects that were going on during that particular moment of the movie that I was picking up on right away. And then, of course, it wasn't until after the movie that I got the big picture, right? But, when there was that gentleman that was working on his golf swing, and he was feeling Chris's arms and stuff. And he was, asking him how athletic he was and what his swing was like. And Chris was like, I don't think he even played golf or whatever the case may be. There was another person at the party that was speaking about how, light skin is has been typically in fashion, but darker skin is coming into fashion more. Do you feel as though it's in vogue now? And he's like, what are you talking about with, my skin being in vogue, being in fashion or whatever. I'm trying to remember the other element, another aspect of it, relating to the barbecue. It escapes me right now. But there's another aspect of the film where, of course, I can't remember his girlfriend's name in the movie, but her grandfather was talking about being a runner and winning the race, and of course about the whole play on words that meant as related to the movie Get Out and such. And I thought it was very interesting. Oh, I remember the other element. The other element was when there was a woman, her husband was in a wheelchair or seated or something like that. And she was, talking to Chris's girlfriend, and she was like, so are the rumors true? Like, feeling his body and maybe his muscular, build and so on and so forth. And he's like, what is going on here? You know what I'm saying? You got to give a shout out to Jordan Peele. I mean, Jordan Peele really captured elements of, especially in that scene, that a lot of black people experience and a lot of black people believe, especially as it relates to celebrities, especially as it relates specifically to athletes. When that gentleman was asking him about, his athletic ability and his golf swing, when the other guy was talking about is black in vogue, is it in fashion these days, and so on and so forth. And of course, later on in the movie, that they were basically transporting, the brains of themselves into the bodies of these black men, right? And basically, just harvesting them and, auctioning them off and so on and so forth. Get Out really sat with me for a long time. Like I was mentally messed up. I was messed up over that movie because that's very emblematic to everyday society, kind of in many respects. Black culture, the coolness of, certain aspects of, black culture, whether it's the music, the dress, the vernacular, the black skin. If you're not familiar with black fishing, I would definitely look that up. That's definitely something that is, being discussed now in communities of color, as well as with people, our white counterparts as well. That being that our, white counterparts or our fair skinned counterparts are actually making their skin color darker to appeal to a broader audience, or to be cool, or to associate those aspects of the culture. And we can, I might do a deeper dive onto, or have a conversation on cultural appropriation later. But, the reason why, Get Out really, really bothered me a lot was because that's how life is, like, for instance, when LeBron James, spoke out and had some very pointed perspectives as it related to the death of Eric Gardner. He was told by his white counterparts in the media, just shut up and dribble, just shut up and dribble. And very similar to that, as it relates to Get Out, it's almost as if certain aspects of our society, they don't have an appreciation for our mind, right? But the entertainment value as it relates to black people, whether they're football players, basketball players, track stars, whatever the case may be, it's almost as if, it's an entertainment aspect, and purely only that. And there's hypocrisy in that. And, I think hypocrisy has been brought up, in many different respects during the conversation so far. And it will be more so, for the rest of the conversations probably as well. I mean, going back to the LeBron James comment, where he was, speaking out about police brutality and so on and so forth. And then even Colin Kaepernick, when Colin Kaepernick in 2016, shout out to my 49ers, he was taking a knee and trying to, highlight and bring, elevate the conversation discussion as it related to police brutality. You had people, football fans, people in the media, other celebrities saying you should leave politics, out of sports. Well, I don't think that's a partisan issue. Police brutality, the Black Lives Matter movement, what's happening to black people in communities as it relates to their interactions with law enforcement, and even just how they're, viewed in society in some respects as well. Those shouldn't be partisan issues, right? Those shouldn't be political issues, that's my personal perspective. But even more so, there's the going back to the hypocrisy that I was talking about. LeBron James, spoke out and had a perspective about, being able to share his experience as a black person in this country, and saying that, I could have been Eric Gardner. That could have been me. That could have been one of my sons. That could have been my wife. That could have been whoever. And then he's being told, just shut up and dribble, because, that's what we need you to do. Right. We're making money off of, ticket sales, or we're making money off of, your endorsement deals, or, because, we're selling your shoes, or whatever the case may be in that regard. So it's really demeaning. I think that some of that is it might be subconscious. And that goes back to implicit bias that we kind of brought up, either yesterday or the day before. And that's the reason why Get Out really messed me up. It made me, sit back and think, were other people seeing this? Were other people feeling the exact same thing when Chris was being paraded around that barbecue and basically being auctioned off and being asked about all the attributes that he had as a physical person? But, at the end of the movie, of course, you saw they didn't want his mind. They wanted to put their mind into his body, but they wanted to acquire everything else about him. The potential coolness that he had as it related to, his skin color, the physical attributes as it related to, that guy talking about his golf swing. And, that makes me remember a circumstance that happened when I was working in college. So when I was in college, I worked at an apartment complex in Gainesville. And I worked at a few complexes, actually. And one year during turn, when the students were moving out and the new ones were moving in, we always had a lot of long days and such, moving around furniture, signing leases, whatever the case may be. So anyway, I'm just trying to paint a picture. But one of my homeboys, Nick Quinones, shout out to my boy Nick. He and I were working together, and we had this colleague, right? Her name was Connie, I think, and Connie worked on our cleaning staff in the complex. And every day, because we were working long hours and such, the complex would take care of our meals. They provide us breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, whatever the case may be. And some, one of the days or a couple of the days we had, I think it may have been Reggae Shack, I can't remember, but we had a black owned business make food for us, make lunch for us, right? And the food was great. It was off the chain. It tasted really good. And, of course, we're all college students. We're all excited to be able to get a free meal, right? Well, Connie, in passing, she made this comment. Connie's a white person. Connie made this comment. She goes, well, they're good for something, singing and dancing and cooking. And Nick and I, Nick's Latin. He's just, and he's Latinx. And I was like, we were like, what does that even mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, we were just so taken aback. And as ignorant as that statement was, I really truly believe in my heart that she didn't mean anything negative by it. I do regret not kind of having a conversation with her about it. She's an older woman. I was a college student. That doesn't matter. I could have still taken that moment to have it be a teachable moment as to mean, what does that even mean? I'm in college here. I'm your colleague here in this, in this business, and I'm doing things to better myself, get an education, go to school. At that point, I was working on my first master's and at the University of Florida, go Gators. And I was just so taken aback by that. But that personal experience of mine, and there have been others, but I won't go down that line, but that personal experience of mine as it relates to Get Out, as it relates to society as a whole, it's very interesting to me when, we have celebrities or entertainers or whatever the case, and, they have provide a perspective or provide a very genuine and authentic view on their, and a social issue as it related to, as I mentioned with LeBron, with the Eric Garner case when he got killed in New York, and he was told to just shut up and dribble. If you follow that hashtag, you'll see, news clippings. If you follow that hashtag, you'll see videos of our white counterparts in the media essentially saying, we don't need to hear your voice. We don't want to know your mind. We need you to, as Connie thought, cook a meal. We need to, and as she also said, dance. She, the theatrics, the entertainment value of things, and that's very demeaning. It's also, I think, in many respects, dehumanizing. So, and that's the reason why I would definitely, be curious, please, in the comments on the page when I post this later, I'd be curious to see if other people digested that from Get Out, what their conversations were like with their friends or family members when they saw the movie. It was amazing. It was amazing, very deep. And I think that really shows not only Jordan Peele's range, because a lot of us knew about Key and Peele, but, to be able to capture an aspect and an element that's prevalent in society that's, that some people are, perceiving or experiencing inside society, but maybe not this, the greater society as a whole. For him to put that into that, form of media in that context and in that manner, in that way, I think was pretty heavy. And, I'd be interested to know. So, please, that's pretty much everything from the conversation today. So please, in the comments, share your thoughts about the movie Get Out. Did I digest it wrong? Did I see it inappropriately? Let me know what you think about that, please. Share it with your friends. People have been asking me, am I allowed to share this? Can I share this? Is this okay? Yes, it could be shared. That's not a problem. These conversations are just something for us to think about. This is something that, I want to be able to present to my friends and, be able to, just have a conversation and dialogue about race in this moment that we're in, as I've been saying already. So, one more time, shout out to Just Like That, Custom Designs. Hit him up on Facebook, provided me with this cool, coronavirus, face mask, covering my mouth and my nose and everything. Black owned business, doing great things out in California. They mailed it to me in a couple days. So that's everything for tonight. I think day 4, I have to get the technology taken care of because my father doesn't have Instagram. So I have to figure these, the logistics out. But tomorrow I want to have a conversation about the conversation that Black parents have with their black children as it relates to, engaging the cops and engaging, law enforcement and the police. But that's also, of course, not just unique to black parents of a black child. Of course, there are interracial children out there, in our society. There are also individuals out of the goodness of their heart that adopt children as well, that may be, children of color also. So that conversation, of course, transcends just, a black family, if you will. So, if I can get the technology taken care of, I'm going to have a conversation with my dad tomorrow regarding those conversations that, we have had growing up. I've had, growing up as it relates to our engagements with our white counterparts in law enforcement. So hope you all have a good evening. Hope you enjoyed your Sunday. Talk to you tomorrow.